Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Natural Homeschool Show. I am so glad that you are here. I'm just waiting for everybody to show up and say good morning. It has been such a week for us. I am so glad it's Thursday. So many exciting things that we have been decorating for fall. I love that the weather is getting a little bit better. And today we start our second homeschool co-op. It's going to be a home group. Instead of meeting as a big group, it's going to be a smaller group. And it's really exciting that we get to do it at all. So anyway, I'm just waiting for people to start showing up. Say hi, let me know if you can hear me. Show up in comments. Let me know how you're doing. And we're going to get started in a second here. What have you been up to this week? Let me know.
Hey there, this is Tanya Wright from thenaturalhomeschool.com, the place for homeschool and Montessori lovers ready to make themselves centered, organized teachers, nurture happy children, and create smooth and successful days. Let's get you closer to your transformation today. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Let me know in comments how you're doing. I am so excited that you are here and we are ready to go into our topic. But first, I want to say welcome to the Natural Homeschool Show. I am so glad that you are here. Be sure to follow us on social media. If you are a homeschooler, let me show you what you can do, whether you're doing Montessori or not. Feel free to join the Natural Homeschool Community, which is a Facebook group. It's a private group for homeschoolers. And if you're doing Montessori or any method of homeschooling, join us there. We talk about all things homeschool, and it's a safe place. Then, if you do only Montessori, whether you're homeschooling or not, if you're a Montessori teacher or a parent, or you're starting to homeschool wanting to use this wonderful philosophy, feel free to join our other Facebook group called the Montessori Way Prep Room and join us there. We talk all things Montessori in there. And I just kind of nurture those groups in terms of helping with homeschooling and with Montessori. And I would love to have you there if you haven't joined yet. And if you have, I am super excited that you are here too. So let me know in comments how you're doing. So speaking of growth, because we are growing in those groups and we are growing in our knowledge, you might want to take notes during this training, because if it doesn't apply to you now, it might apply to you later. Now, what happens if you are enjoying these live shows that I do every single Thursday and you want to go deeper in these topics? Well, you know that my time is limited live and your time as well, and I want to be respectful of that. But I can always answer your questions after the training. Simply post them here, or you can also sign up for my weekly emails. I always go deeper in the topic in the weekly, in that week's live there. So if you loved a topic and you wanted to learn more, sign up for the, let me show you, sign up for the weekly emails. And you can sign up there. I'm going to put it in comments right now. You can just click on it and go at the end of the show. So you're going to go and say dive deeper into the weekly emails, because if you love a topic, you want to know more about it, right? And that is a way that I go deeper into these topics from the live shows. So you're more than welcome to join. All right, so let me show you the slide for today's program training. It is a great topic. I already did part 1 a month or 2 ago. I will be posting the link to that training if you were interested in part 1 after the show, so you can watch it as well. I have 4 or maybe 5 parts planned, and I'm going to be spacing them out a month or 2 apart, just to kind of build on each other. And eventually I will have the entire series for you to binge watch if you haven't watched them yet. So today we are going to be talking about the Montessori way of multi-age grouping and some of the benefits of it. You see, mixed age grouping is a way of grouping children in which the children's age range is between 2 and 4 years. It is intended to optimize the educational potential of children, and there are many benefits to this practice. If you are looking to building a centered, organized Montessori guide in yourself, because you're the Montessori guide, right? Nurture happy, normalized children. And normalized is a term that Maria Montessori always used in terms of adjusted children to the Montessori environment. And you want to create smooth, successful Montessori days, then you are in the right place. Let me know in comments what you know about the mixed age, multi-age grouping, if you have ever tried it. I have tried it both in Montessori and private school that is not Montessori, and there was a big difference. There were still benefits to it, but there was a big difference, and I talked about that in part 1, which I will be sharing the link with you at the end of this training so you can watch it if you're interested. I will also share it inside the Dive Deeper emails that I will be sending out after this one, so we go a little bit deeper in the topic. All right. So let me know if you have tried this method, if it's worked, if it hasn't worked, what you thought of it. Let me know in comments what is going on with you in this topic, so I kind of have an idea on where to go from here. Okay, so let me show you slide number 1. This is just the cover slide. Let's go to truth number 1 about multi-age grouping. Are you ready? So children are not labeled according to their ability. In the Montessori environment, you have children from ages 3 to 6. It's a 3 or 4 year cycle because you have 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sometimes they move on as soon as they turn 6. And sometimes they stay in the same group depending on the school, depending on the grouping, depending on the child's ability. But the children are not labeled according to their ability. Everybody is one and the same in the class. There's no, they just are introduced and practice and master the material. So they have 3 or 4 year cycle where the material, if they are introduced to it the first year and then they practice it a little bit more and then they master it a little bit later, it's a beautiful thing to watch children just graduate in those different levels without the pressure of having to get everything done in one school year. So they are not graded or placed in the slow, medium, and fast groups in class. Do you remember those Red Robin groups where the really good readers would sit together in a group and then the not so fast readers would sit together in another group? There's no labeling like that in Montessori. And this multi-age grouping is perfect because there's a 6-year-old that's reading at a 4-year-old level or writing a little bit slower or anything. It doesn't matter because there are children of all ages in all the groups. So there's no stress on you. There's no stress on the child. Imagine how a child feels when they are labeled, they're put in this box telling them, you are not such a fast reader, so we're going to put you in this group. Or even if you don't say it out loud, they figure it out. They're smart. They figure it out. So in Montessori, I love this truth. In multi-age grouping, children have the ability to work at their own pace without being rushed, without being told you have to reach this milestone by this time, by this date, by the end of the year. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble or not be in the group with your age. So it takes the burden off of you because all of a sudden, as the Montessori guide, you're not stressed out about, oh no. When I was a public school teacher, I was so stressed out teaching to the test, pretty much. It was so stressful because you had to get children from point A to point B in a very specific amount of time. And that is just not really the most organic way for children to learn. And it's not the most organic way for you to teach either, right? It just needs to flow and be more natural. So also, it takes the burden off of their children. So what do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to check comments real quick. If there are any comments, let me know. So imagine growing up in a beautiful and loving learning environment where children can be themselves, follow their passions, and learn at their own pace. Well, when they are in a Montessori environment and have the opportunity to grow up in that environment during the ages of 3, 4, 5, and 6, then they will be set up for success. Finding that beautiful flow of discovering learning experiences is one of the best ways for children to learn. And so that's why I'm a huge advocate for multi-age grouping. And if you are a homeschooler, it's even better because you're already on the winning side. You already have multiple children of multiple ages. And yes, you are able to do homeschooling using the Montessori method because you already have the multi-age grouping. So it's perfect. All right, let's go to point number 2. Are you ready? Truth number 2. Children learn at their own rate with no fear of retention. I love that. I love that because in traditional classrooms, children are retained if they do not master the content by the end of the year. In mixed age classrooms, children have more time to master the content, go deeper into it, and this removes their fear of being retained in school. In traditional schools, you would work with special needs children. You have to face the option of either segregating or retaining children that are not able to cover the material in 1 year's time. But actually, it is 9 months, not a year. They call it a school year, but in reality, it's only 9 months. So they get even less time to be introduced to the material, to practice the material, and to master the material. And if you are working with gifted children in traditional schools, you are also worried about children that need more advanced material or to move at a faster pace that will be retained as well. Even though they're not retained as in you're in 2nd grade and then you stay in 2nd grade again, they are in 2nd grade, but their minds are ready for 3rd or 4th grade, and they're being retained because they're being held in a 2nd grade classroom with 2nd grade material. You know what I mean? So it's a different kind of retaining. They're still being retained. It is a different type of retention as they are in a grade that their age dictates, not their minds. Their minds are more advanced. They are trapped in a classroom with materials that are holding them back. They want to know more, they want to go further, but the teacher is overwhelmed because she's not trained for multi-levels. Imagine growing up in a beautiful and loving learning environment where children can be themselves, follow their passions, and learn at their own pace, slower or faster, as they may be. What a thought, huh? Let me know what you think in comments. Before I share the next point, I am going to take a couple minutes to share something with you.
Thank you for listening to the show. Stay tuned for Thank you for listening to the show. Stay tuned for more. Have you been wondering how to go about doing Montessori successfully or learn more about this wonderful method? Are you lost when it comes to planning Montessori lessons and know how to help children with this wonderful method? Are you constantly doubting yourself, not being sure you're presenting the lessons correctly to a child no matter what subject it is? Are you ready to become a centered, organized Montessori guide and nurture happy, normalized children? What about loving the idea to know how to create smooth, successful Montessori days? Let me introduce you to the Montessori Way Foundations Framework, a 6-month journey to a firm foundation in the Montessori method. Visit us at thenaturalhomeschool.com/TMWFF.
Yay, you're back. Welcome back. Before the break, I shared the 2 truths of multi-age. It is research-based. I'm not just making it up. It supports the Montessori multi-age grouping and how it is so successful. In part 1, this is part 2. In part 1, I discussed the difference between, yes, there are benefits to all multi-age grouping, but the Montessori way of doing it is the best. And I discuss why. I've done both Montessori multi-age grouping and I have done the traditional school grouping, multi-age grouping, and it is very different. It is still frustrating in traditional schools. I go in depth into that. I will share the link with you at the end of the show, and you can listen to that. I really want you to grasp this idea, because if you encounter parents that are doubting if this would work, then these are great talking points to support this this method of education. All right, so let's go into point number 3, and you can see it on the screen. Truth number 3 is children develop a sense of family with their classmates, not just their classmates, their teacher too. They become a family of learners. I love that saying, a family of learners. If you are a homeschooling family, then you're already there. But it becomes like a next level. You're not just a family, but you're a family of learners. So now you're sharing this huge, life-changing, amazing experience, which is the learning experience. So there, as a family of learners, you support and care for one another. Do children learn better when they are comfortable or stressed? Do they learn better with known people or with strangers? Knowing the Montessori guide, which is you, the teacher or the adult in the Montessori environment, and the children in the environment for years is going to take off a lot of the stress in the children that they might be feeling in new situations. I remember my first day of kindergarten. I was so nervous, I actually threw up before the bus came to pick me up. I was so nervous, I threw up. That has never happened to me before and since then, really. But imagine a kindergartner being so stressed out, not knowing anyone, and compared to a child that goes back to the same class, the same Montessori guide, the same children. There might be just a few handful, maybe, just usually it's very few children that are new compared to the entire class, because every year the 6-year-olds graduate to the next level, to the 6 to 9 group, right? So those older children graduate to the next level, and then there are new 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds that come in, but usually it's a very small group that moves around, that changes. One small group leaves, the other small group comes in, and it's usually small, so it is a lot easier to handle and to manage. And it's actually exciting because all of a sudden you have a few new friends to make, as opposed to brand new class with 20 plus children that you have to deal with and get to know. And it takes a while. I remember the stress. I remember it. Even though I am 40, I remember the stress of going to a new school, going to a new class. Very stressful. It takes so much time and effort to work through instilling a new routine, learning the rules, learning the procedures, the class order, not to mention figuring out the personality of the Montessori guide and all the classmates. It takes a while to get into a rhythm, to get into a routine. I was a teacher for about 10 years before I had children and started homeschooling. And I remember how long it took. Not only was it stressful getting into a routine, getting to know everyone because everyone was new to the class, but also everyone adjusting to the rules, adjusting to the new grade. It was, I don't know, like taking a month or so to review the previous grades material just to solidify before moving forward. It was just the most stressful month ever, the first month of the school year. So imagine removing that stress, because the children come back to you. They know the classroom, they know you, they know most of the classmates, they know the rules, the procedures, the order of the events and things like that. There might be a few tweaks and changes, but those are easy to do. If you have a firm foundation, a very established routine, children will pick it up right away. And those subtle changes will be a lot easier than starting from zero. Being able to familiarize yourself with one environment and one group is a one and done in the multi-age grouping, which is so much, it helps so much to return in subsequent years without that stressor and that worry of trying to fit in. Imagine growing up in a beautiful and loving learning environment where children can be themselves, following their passions and learning at their own pace, where everyone can be a family. Isn't that a beautiful thought? You know each other. You know who you are. You come back every year. You're just excited to come back and see your friends again. So like I said at the beginning of the show, I have a Facebook group for all things Montessori that you are welcome to join. It is called the Montessori Way Prep Room. Well, inside, I have added a file inside that group with a list of some books on multi-age grouping, in case you were wanting to learn more. It's like a bibliography that I put together for you. You can download it and print it out. But if you cannot wait, then I can share the list with you right now of those books. So let me grab the link and share it with you right now. I'm going to post it in the comments, but I will also put it on this. Well, I'll just share it in the comments. It is faster. So that is the list if you wanted to learn more. And while you type up any questions or comments that you might have, I want to invite you to take a look at the latest printable digital book that I just know is going to be super helpful to you. It is a list of 100 practical life activities that you can do with children at home or in your Montessori environment, in the goal to build you into a more centered and organized guide. It will give you guidance in the goal to nurture happy, normalized children. It certainly set up the children to take steps in the right direction. And in the goal to create smooth and successful Montessori days, it will bring you closer together with activities that all of you would love. So I would love for you to get this free digital book. It is a list of 100 practical life works for ages 3 to 6. And I'm posting the link in comments so you guys can see it. And I'm putting it on a banner so you can also see it. There it is. You can see it on the screen. It is a list of 100 practical life works for ages 3 to 6 that you will be able to download and print, use over and over. As you complete them, just check them off. It might be fun picking one page per week and then choosing to do one work out of that page every week, so that way you have a lot of variety. You get to touch on a lot of practical life subjects. And the reason why I love practical life is because it is the Montessori subject that shortcuts the child's success the fastest from dependence to independence. I love practical life. And if you want to learn more about that, then get this list and get some ideas for you to implement right away. So you're going to get it in your email. Next week, I am going to be discussing some absolutely essential reasons why you love the Montessori philosophy. I'm going to give you some very, very, very specific and very essential reasons to love the Montessori philosophy. If you are new to the Montessori philosophy, you're going to love this because I'm going to give you a lot of information about it. And if you are experienced in this wonderful method, you're going to love this refresher, and it will set you up for success in this new school year. You won't want to miss it. So, if you have any questions about this topic, please type them up in the comments and I will come back and answer them. And then we will see you next week. All right. Bye.
I appreciate you sharing time with me today. You have tons of choices about what you're listening to, and I love that you chose the Natural Homeschool Show. Thank you. Well, that's it for today. Until next time, this is Tanya Wright with thenaturalhomeschool.com. I hope that you will use this training to create solutions that will bring about smooth, successful days for you. Let's get you closer to that transformation today.